Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly, back to do another video here. This is a video response to Adam's video. I guess he was going out of town or something, and he posted a thread right before he took off. Really good one. Adam, his username is, I forgot to even, see, Adam's username is, actually I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. It's AF Clemenson. That's his username. And he put up a really cool thread, and I wanted to kind of jump in on it. Matter of fact, I've kind of stacked up a few threads that I need to do here, so I'm probably going to do maybe 2 or 3 videos this morning before I take out. There's a ton of errands I have to do today. So, playing in the background before I get in all that. I'm sure you guys know this classic. Haven't listened to this in a while, so I pulled it out. Velvet Underground, White Light, White Heat. So I thought about that album the other day when I did that Bowie comment I made with albums in the year you were born thread. But anyway, Adam had a really cool, another one of those nice kind of straight to the point type threads, and it was basically called the 10 record giveaway thread, where he was just kind of basically saying, you know, with all the dollar bins that you bump into all the time, if you had $10 to go in and just, you know, come out with 10 plus records to give a new collector, what are some of the records you might pull out of a dollar bin that you see on a regular basis that you would, you know, give to that person? So that's what I did. I went in and pulled out, I think, about 12 records here, which is, you know, about typical what you can get out of a dollar bin, especially with owners that you know. They'll usually throw in a couple extra. And I'm assuming the person I'm getting this for is kind of like me in terms of having a fairly broad taste in different types of music that they like. And also try to really stay true to what I consistently see in dollar bins. I mean, I've picked up great stuff in dollar bins that were steals that aren't normally dollar bin records. So I think everything I pulled out is typically something I've seen multiple times in dollar bins all over the place. So trying to stay really true to the question. So that's kind of the one downside, is you're really not going to see any metal for this person, because very rarely do you find any type of metal in a dollar bin. And again, I was trying to stay really true to the question. So I would start off by getting this one for them. Again, assuming they have a very broad taste in music, like I think I do. Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. That's an absolute classic album. Of course, it's where you're going to find all your disco and everything, but I mean, some of the best disco music ever written, this particular album there. So that's definitely one I would pick up out of the dollar bin for them. Another soundtrack I see in dollar bins a lot, which I think is really good. This will kind of fulfill their country urge, which is Urban Cowboy. Another really good soundtrack. A lot of good stuff too. There's a lot of I'm not gonna say crossover, but a lot of listener-friendly country music on this, for maybe people that aren't into the extreme twang of some country music. There's a lot of stuff on here that has a little more of a, you know, it's just more of a mainstream country type feel. So I think that's a good album too that pops up in dollar bins quite often. To get them a little R&B, I find this Cameo, which is probably my favorite album by them actually, which is Single Life. I see this in dollar bins all the time. You know, this has their hits Single Life, as well as, again, maybe my favorite song by them, which is Attack Me With Your Love. Definitely one of my top 5 favorite songs by them. So that's one I would pick up for them. And again, feel a little more R&B there. Earth, Wind, and Fire. And this is I Am. And of course, this has Boogie Wonderland and everything. So, you know, this will really kind of fulfill that 70s going into early 80s kind of, you know, funky R&B type stuff. So that'd be another good one to pick up for them. And then the next few records here, these are the ones I really think about when I think about dollar bins, because this is the stuff I guess I probably see the most, like all the time, everywhere. So I would give them a copy of Pat Benatar. And this is In the Heat of the Night. You know, this is just a classic Pat. You know, it has stuff like Heartbreaker and We Live for Love, and you know, In the Heat of the Night. So, you know, a number of good things on here. But you see these in dollar bins all the time. And I don't know, Pat Benatar is one of those artists too that when most people see her and hear her, they think, you know, cheesy 80s, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, there was some mainstream stuff she had that was kind of cheesy that I love to death. But, you know, when you really get into her entire catalog and list a lot of the stuff she does, I mean, the chick really could rock. I mean, there's some pretty heavy stuff that most people don't know about because it was never the mainstream stuff that was pushed for her back in the 80s. So if you're not a big Pat Benatar fan or just don't know much about her, I mean, make sure as you're going through the dollar bins, pick up some of that stuff and check it out. You'd be surprised at some of the stuff she did that just never got any recognition or airplay. This is one I would definitely have to pick out, because if you remember a few weeks ago, I chose this guy as having one of the best voices in the history of music. And I think he definitely displays it on this, Steve Perry's Street Talk. Love this album to death, and you find it in dollar bins everywhere. This will be a must I would have to buy from someone. Even if they don't like Steve Perry, I still have to buy it. But, you know, again, it has his mainstream stuff that he catches so much flack for, like Oh Sherry and Foolish Heart, which I still love. But, you know, the real gems on this album are Captured by the Moment and Go Away. Those are the two tracks that are just, oh man, Steve shows his tail on those. That guy can sing. Oh my goodness. Love Steve Perry. So that's another one I would pick out of the dollar bin for him. And then just, you know, you get them all soft in the 80s, and you got to kind of pick them back up with a little bit of classic rock in there. So here's one that I would also pull out for him. I see these in dollar bins all the time, which is the Styx. Really, really good album. It probably has one of my favorite songs, if not my favorite song by them, which is Renegade. I love that song to death. So that's a good kind of classic rock piece too that I see in dollar bins a lot as well. I would throw some Genesis their way. I find these all the time. This is Invisible Touch. And of course it has a song Invisible Touch, Tonight Tonight, Land of Confusion, In Too Deep. And you talk about a solid side of music. Good gracious. That's one right there. But yeah, definitely I would grab that one for him as well. This one I've seen a number of times. I can't say I see it all the time, but I know I've definitely seen it, you know, a good 4 or 5 times. But Peter Gabriel's So, that's certainly one that I would pull out for him. And again, you're talking about Red Range, Sledgehammer, In Your Eyes, Big Time. Another great, great piece of work by him. So funny too, because just day before yesterday I watched Say Anything, first time in quite some time. Culture Club, this is another one I would pull out. Color by Numbers, Karma Chameleon, It's a Miracle, Church of a Poisoned Mind, Miss Me Blind. It's a good album right there. Great album for $1. R.E.M., I know I see this one a ton. Because, I mean, that cover just jumps out at you so much, and, you know, just kind of sticks in your mind every time you see it. This is You Can Tune a Piano, But You Can't Tune a Fish. You know, it has stuff like Roll with the Changes, and, you know, just some of the earlier R.E.M. before they got, you know, totally 80s, Keep On Loving You type stuff. Which, again, I'm not knocking that because I love it to death. I'm an 80s junkie, period, though, so I'm gonna love all of that stuff that people label as cheesy. But that's definitely a good one that you see in dollar bins a lot. And the last two, again, kind of keeping some chords here. Foreigner. This is for records, just kind of a greatest hits. I see these in dollar bins quite a bit. And again, just a very solid record. I mean, Foreigner, they were a good rock band. I mean, they really were. And on here you have Cold as Ice, Double Vision, Head Games, Waiting for a Girl Like You, Feels Like the First Time, Hot Blooded, Long Long Way Home, Jukebox Hero, Dirty White Boy, Urgent. Those are some rockin' freaking songs right there. I mean, I'm telling you. So that's one I would definitely get for him. And last but not least, I see these in dollar bins all the time. Best of the Doobie Brothers. again, just kind of some good, you know, old set 70s, I guess what 70s, maybe early 80s. This is their greatest hits. There's a lot of different things on here, but again, China Grove, Long Train Running, Taking It to the Streets, Listen to the Music, Black Water, Rocking Down the Highway, Jesus Is Alright, It Keeps You Running. I mean, again, just killer tracks on that. It's just some great, good old-fashioned rock music. I mean, kind of, I guess, southern to some degree, rock music. So again, I think you could easily go into a lot of different stores and find all those albums for $10, and those are the ones I would pick up for someone if they're just starting their collection and again have a very diverse musical taste. I think that would be a good starting point. So again, Adam, good job on the setting up the thread. Very good question. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll be back probably in a few minutes to knock out the next couple threads I need to do before I get out of here. All right, take care, VC.